the review here. So we've got our
Yeah.
2500 Ash
I'm on my way.
and
Here it comes.
Keeps the skies clear for me.
Negative.
You were once a legend.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Thank you.
Move back.
Widow,
Escort
sure.
the payload.
Patience.
A payload in motion stays in motion.
Okay. Nothing too wild there.
Negative.
Of course.
You set up with a Farah as the other piece of your DPS. You guys are set up very poke heavy.
Negative.
Good.
The enemies of Talon will be eliminated.
So you go for this, and this is fine. Cool. Is there anything to be worried about from this team now? So I noticed you're retreating back here, and I can live with that. And if you'd taken damage, you'd have wanted to walk across this health pack and all that. But is there really much reason you can't just reopen this up? I just heard the Roadhog go off. Was that, like I just heard that go off. You might be worried about things here, but this health pack is still up. This is still a pretty easy retreat. Like, I'm not too worried about stepping over here and getting greedy and looking for more. Like, you can back out and be like, hey, I got my one, my team should be able to be okay now. But, like, just the one, if you then remove yourself, isn't really enough. We can get more. Like, I don't want you to feed, but there's very little reason not to open this right now. You're going and retreating, going, yes, I'm done. And now I'm going to play from here, and this is very passive and defensive, but this was pretty darn doable. Go ahead.
But there was a Roadhog here.
Yeah, there was a Roadhog here. There was a Roadhog here who didn't have his hook. Like, if we go through this, there's Roadhog's hook going off.
The enemies of Talon will be eliminated.
And now I'm not too worried about him. And, could he still hit you with the right click? Absolutely, but he's probably not paying attention to you. He's probably paying attention to the front line because your front line is engaging him. And you can go either, you're going to shoot him in the side to help your front line, or you can go, is there something else I can get? Can I get the Zen too? Can I deny the rest? Oh, I take some Zen damage? Oh, the Roadhog turns and looks at me? Okay, fine. I'll walk away. Roadhog could, I suppose, try to follow you out here like this, but again, then your team pushes in so easily. This was a relatively safe angle, or timing to be opening the angle effectively.
Enemy re-engaged.
Right. So, like, not a big deal, but we effectively were playing stacked with our team. They got the res off, so it sort of undid our pick. It's still value to get her res on cooldown, but they effectively undid our pick. And then we're playing stacked with our team, and then we're playing on this angle, which is a little bit vertical of our team, but not much of a different angle. We're still having to shoot mostly past a Reinhardt shield, not a ton of great angles to get around it. And by the time we're really in this, our team is down, our team is retreated to cover, etc. So I really was interested in us going for a bit more here. They're like, yes, is there the possibility of them hurting you? Absolutely. But you retreat through here to the health pack, and it's not really something they want to follow. But that's okay. Let's see.
Should I have went to the mega in the cave down, but there is nothing to shoot. Yeah, here.
Oh, I mean, only if you then are peeking out like this, or peeking out like this to find something more. So you'd have to go, hey, I'm walking into the mega, and I have my grapple to get back with. Like, that's how you'd have had to do this. Here, you wouldn't have had your grapple to get back, but you could have just walked pretty easily.
My point of view is that I got the pick. My team should start pushing. It's not my job to deny the risk, because there was a Roadhog, there was Zenyatta. I don't remember what happened, but there was a lot of people, and I didn't like being in that area, so I just took distance to be away so that my team can clean up. So I removed the McCree. I have a Farah. I have Farah Mercy, and I have a Reinhardt. Just W, and we should win that. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I removed the McCree.
And it.
You just W.
Good. Okay, and don't get me wrong. Like, what you did put your team ahead. Like, what you did should be valuable. But if you were playing Tracer, and you went in and you shot Bap hard enough to get Bap to use his lamp on himself, and then you just left and played Tracer from here with your team for the rest of the team fight, would you expect your team to win the team fight?
If I am the only one who's just making plays, I don't know. I will not win.
Well, no, that's all. Like, even in a standard thing with a standard team, not like your team is a bunch of mouth breathers, but like, hey, you went through, you took a flank as Tracer, you found Bap, you shot at him to force his lamp, and then you
Okay.
left and you played from your team, shooting from the same direction of your team for the rest of your team
Yeah.
fight. Have you contributed enough to win at that point?
So when my Reinhardt, I'm sorry, I'm just say my point of view. So in that
Mhm.
that case, if my Reinhardt just swing into that into enemy Reinhardt, if they don't have a bubble, they have nothing. It's just a free damage, and with him swinging back, and our damage, he should die. They can't save him.
Right, you've created an advantage if you got rid of their lamp. I agree. You've created
Yeah.
an
So
advantage.
they don't have lamp, they don't have nade, they don't have. If we have like Ana and they have Batista, and they force their lamp, and we still have the nade, or we should have an advantage.
Right. But, like, obviously, if the other team's Tracer goes ahead and comes behind your team and forces out, let's say, Lamp, and then after that, they stand and do a little more, and maybe they also get Animate out, or they also get Bap's Shift out, or they apply some pressure to leave people a little weaker on health, so Bap has to turn away to heal some other people. Even if they don't get any eliminations or don't get anything as valuable as Lamp, they do a bit more. Whereas you as Tracer went behind, got the lamp out, left, and now we're just shooting into the front where, you're shooting Reinhardt in the front, you're shooting Symmetra in the front, that sort of thing. You'd expect the other team to win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I am just frontlining and Tracer.
Well, you were basically doing the same thing as Widow. Like, I swapped Tracer and Bap with Lamp with Widow and Mercy with Res. Like, you forced their Res, but their Res is about equivalent to a Lamp in terms of the cooldown lengths that we're thinking about here. They get the person back. You forced a Res advantage, so hey, it's still a 6v6, but you guys have a Res in your pocket, and they don't because you forced out that Res, and then you spent the rest of the fight playing effectively from here, which is effectively the same thing as frontlining as Tracer. Playing basically behind your Reinhardt, shooting in the direction of their Reinhardt shield. Little better once you get up here, but the fight's mostly devolved by the time you get here. It's not playing up here and getting another one. It's not playing over here and getting another one. It's not playing over here and keeping them under pressure. Even if you don't get another pick, keeping them under pressure or causing the hog to chase you and then you getting out and you pulling the hog out of position. Like, you actually contributed good at the very beginning of this fight, and then you went, well, that should be enough, when, I mean, maybe just barely. Like, yeah, what you did should, I suppose it should be enough, but it should just barely be enough. And if the other team's members are contributing just a tiny bit more than enough, then they're going to win. And if you're contributing just enough, random chance is sometimes going to have things not go your way. So, like, I'm not telling you to go stupid and be like, aha, let me just, when the team fight is happening here, let me walk up here, grapple past and shoot everyone from behind, and oh, I get destroyed because there's a Zen behind me type thing. I'm not telling you to be like, let me grapple into the middle of the enemy team and scope and challenge people. That would be foolish. But what you're doing is like, oh, I feel like my team should clean this up. Why? Like, if we make it not res but lamp, it doesn't feel that powerful to be like, yes, I forced the Babs lamp. Like, yes, that's absolutely useful, but like, that doesn't mean the fight's over. That's just created a small advantage. And the way you win in Overwatch is you stack a couple small advantages like that, and then the other team folds, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you might have overestimated quite how much you'd gotten done, just because, like, oh, it's an elimination, and that's great, but we weren't really up yet.
Payload in motion stays in motion.
Rendez-vous avec la mort.
Whereas a payload at rest stays at rest.
The enemies of Talon will be eliminated.
Payload progresses.
Okay. Okay. So here you are.
Payload progresses.
And I suppose we can do this. This isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not great, though. I mean, we're walking up the same path as our team, so I hope we're going to find our way further across.
Watching your back.
Yeah, the back here was better. And then perfect.
Healing stream engaged.
Yeah, I'm lost. Here I'm lost. I'm lost.
Sure.
I remember this spot.
Okay.
I was lost.
Okay,
Yeah,
so...
I should be in the wooden platform on the left.
Yep.
I was lost. Yeah,
Set
I
up a-
remember this part.
If you'd set up here, that would be good. Even if you'd set up like over here, that could be good. The idea, the concept that you want to follow is if we've already won the fight and there's no more staggers to get, and I get what you were trying to do. I didn't like this run-up main here, but after the run-up main, you tried to get up here. You tried to threaten down here so that you could threaten this way while your team threatened this way. That would have been good, but your team had already won. There weren't staggers to be had. So yeah, now we just set up for a new place to fight from. We just didn't recognize quickly enough that there wasn't anyone left from either pressing tab or watching the feed more closely.
The enemies
Good.
of Talon will be eliminated.
Okay,
I need to get you.
so here we are. We're applying pressure, cool. We see we take some damage there, and then we see that the ball is here, and obviously we're in a situation where a couple things that have happened. A, we were late in getting here, so we don't have our grapple back, which is one thing that's going to hurt us a little bit. And B, we don't really have a meaningful mine down anywhere, right? Like, we don't have a mine down here. We didn't have a mine down over here. We didn't have a mine that maybe we threw over here to get someone who's trying to, play peekaboo with us. Like, we don't have a mine anywhere. Mine might have helped a little bit with warning us that this Hammond was coming. And ideally, we'd have our grapple back now, but we were sort of late to position here, and that is south of not really understanding how the fight was going. So now we look at this and go, okay, 2 people are on us. This isn't really good. What's your out here without grapple? Do you have any, or are you just doomed?
My out? What do you
Mhm.
mean? What can I do?
Yeah, how could you survive this? What could you do to survive or increase your odds of
What-
surviving this?
Surviving, I don't think unless my Anna just heal me, I should just try to have a kill while I die. Just
Okay.
take someone with me. Unless my Anna will heal me, but I don't
Sure.
think they will heal.
Sure.
Just kill
Well,
someone or die. Maybe the McCree or Dash.
yeah. Okay, so you think, hey, it's either Anna's going to get you or you're going to get eliminated. At this particular moment, I don't know if Mercy's been hooked or not, so you might be thinking about, do you need to open this angle to let Mercy have a Guardian to you? But sure, that's fine. So you're going, hey, you want to try to trade someone out while he boops you up. Sure.
I need you to heal me.
I was looking at the Mercy.
looked for Anna.
I don't remember. I don't remember the game.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal. You went to try to give your Anna a spot to heal you from. Not a big deal. You're an easy res there. We'll take it. I probably don't want to grapple there.
No
Okay.
one can hide from my sight.
Good hit.
Well, that's you.
Americans.
You do it again. Sincerest apology.
Did she just call herself an American? Is that what we just saw there?
No, she said calling the Ash an American. When she kill.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
First soldier, she say because she's French.
Got it. You're right. You're right. It just sounded like it was right after she.
Rocket barrage. Justice is done.
Yeah.
Okay. Easy cleanup.
Talon will be
Good.
eliminated.
Sure. Probably not what I want to do though. Like I get it. I get what you're concerned about.
Enemies of Talon will be eliminated.
Now I'm interested in setting up for where the next team fight is going to be. Where do you think the next team fight is going to take place?
In the first corner, so to the left of this building.
Oh, you think the next team fight is going to happen right here?
Yes. below
I
the
think you won hard enough that it's going to be hard for that to happen. I think if you just won here, you expect the first team fight to happen here. But you guys just got stagger eliminations, right? And you got stagger eliminations after the card is moving. The card isn't doing its stop, wait slowly for the doors to open. Like, you got stagger eliminations and the card is already here. I think you guys are going to have some amount of control over this, and you can deny allowing them to set up for this and instead make them set up further back here or try to push back into this through sightlines you control. Do you think that's accurate?
You asked me what happened. I don't remember, but
No, I'm not
yeah,
really
sure.
asking what happened. I'm actually more interested in like what you would expect to happen from here.
At that point, I was expecting the regular places that below the bridge, and they will sit up in the in the corner
Okay.
next
Okay.
to the red building.
Okay. But in hindsight, do you agree that it looks like you guys can probably set up to sort of deny them this bridge hold and make them hold further back, or make them push in through your resistance to get the bridge hold if they want it?
I don't expect my tanks to do that. I will be very grateful that they push 1 inch forward, but usually I don't expect that from my tanks.
Okay. I see one of them's obviously back there spawning. The other's here. I mean, I'm not totally sure. Like, I would like them to do that, but I'm not totally sure I mind if they don't, because, like, as long as this ball gets driven off, which I think will happen, I think the four of you would fight this ball, and this ball would get driven off, and you wouldn't be in much trouble. I think you can pretty reliably set yourself up over here, set yourself up over here, set yourself up over here, and look for the shot to make them coming back in difficult, to sort of make them push through resistance to get back to this bridge setup. You see what I'm saying? Like, even if your tanks don't set up how you might like, you can do a fair amount just from yourself to go, hey, resistance. And obviously, if they start shooting at you, if you start taking damage, if it's like 6 people are shooting you and you're the only one shooting at them, you close the angle. But none of these places are challenging for you to close the angle from, right?
I would go to the cave or
Sure.
yeah or
Yeah, cave works for me.
in the roof.
Or the roof. Yep. Both of those
Yeah.
sound great to me.
Look. Also the wooden platform on the left to look for respawns. Yeah, here.
Yep, and this is fine. This one, yeah, this is fine. And if your tanks are playing particularly passive, maybe your support's playing with them and they can get you from here. But yeah, no, that's fine. So that's sort of what I'd like to be thinking about. Now, maybe the ball's making you think about other
I almost
things.
feel something.
Farewell.
Yeah, one thing is that see, I hate playing Widowmaker because one
Mhm.
thing, because if I get kills, like I have 6 people on me. I have
Mhm.
Ball, I have Genji, I have this,
Sure.
and yeah, I don't, I don't know what to do when there's a ball on me all the game.
Sure.
How is it possible to play Widowmaker in this case? There's a ball on me, there's Genji on me, it's impossible, it's impractical to be like to predict that I will flick a Genji every time or a Tracer.
Well, it looks to
Even
me like the pharmacy is trying to deal with the ball. So the ball like might be trying to get on you, but you're getting some peel here, right? You've got two people
yeah,
that are trying to make this leave. So like, yeah, sometimes you're going to be like, "Oh, hey, there's people chasing me down," because you're one of your team's gigantic win conditions, we could say. And your team, one of their things is going to be, well, don't let them deactivate you as a win condition. And okay, well, that makes sense. So like, what it's mostly going to come down to, if there's a lot of people bothering you, is making it hard for those people to advance on you in the first place, not the close range flick it right into their face and eliminate them, though when you can get those it's great, but make it hard for them to advance on you in the first place. And then, if it comes down to it, either have your grapple to get out or open the angle on the opposing team after your front lines have sort of already met, so that the other team has spent some of those resources that they might use to chase you down. So you're in either a situation where, hey, I'm here, let's just say, and I'm threatening you, and if you use your fireball roll, your dash, whatever, to come towards me, I can grapple back towards the safety of my team. Not amazing, but we can do it. Or you can be in a situation where my team is, pushing whatever, you're waiting for the other team to push into your team, and then once they've actually met, then you open your angle, and then you do it, and then, oh shoot, they've already pushed it. Now, it's a little more complicated than that if the other team understands lanes, but your answers are effectively late peek so that the team is already committed, and or, challenge them before they get to you so that they have to push through hail, push through resistance to get to you. Do those make sense?
It makes sense, and the sad truth is that my team will never push, and I will be on
Okay. I mean, you say that, but pharmacy's helping you right now, so
yeah,
Goodbye.
yeah. This game, that's why maybe I won.
there we go.
Yeah.
Cool.
Music to my ears.
Okay, so this is cool and all, but this is the second time you've done this. Boom. Awesome. Great. I like it. Okay, now we're leaving pretty hard,
Music to my
and
ears.
you probably think that Hog is just like heavy fox guarding this, and maybe he is. Maybe that's what's happening. Yeah, he is. Great. Fine. No big deal. But I do want us to think about, hey, is this the pick to get? Is this a case of we get our pick and then we immediately leave? Or is this a case of we get our pick, we close our angle, or we get our pick, we see if anyone's actually aiming in our direction, that sort of thing, to look for more. Like, it doesn't always have to be one pick and leave. In this case, maybe it made sense. Hey, the Hog's right there, the Hog's going to come out. I think you can actually put yourself in a situation where Hog was really going to struggle to get you from where he was, so he was then going to have to drop, which meant when he drops, oh hey, you've potentially got the ability to threaten anyone that comes behind him. You'll have time to grapple up by the time he would find any way around, but not a big deal. I don't mind this retreat. I'm just noticing a pattern.
I would go to the roof. Like, I don't remember what I did here, but usually I will just look to go to the roof every time.
Okay. Oh no. Okay.
Sometimes my aim just turn off.
That's okay. I'm actually less worried about
Tell
the
me.
aim here. So if you look at how this match is proceeding, how this fight is proceeding, your team is dealing with a Hammond that's sort of to the right now. They're dealing with a Hog to the left, and you just opened up an angle to challenge a Mercy Ash. So, like, were these Mercy Ash relevant to the fight for the next 2 to 3 seconds?
No.
So now they're relevant to the fight because they're fighting you, but you, rather than sort of help clear these guys, you put yourself in a situation where you're surrounded by the enemy, aren't you? Like, you've got high ground, so only the ball and the ash can challenge you, but you've put yourself in this situation where you're sort of surrounded by the enemy from a geometric standpoint, yes?
So I see the ball to my right,
Mhm.
and there is Ash Mercy in my front, right?
And there's also the Hog over here, and he's not going to get up to you, but he is
They
there.
don't exist to my. Yeah, but shouldn't my team be able to deal with them if I am taking Ash and Mercy from the fight? Either
Sure.
if I kill
Sure.
them or they just they are the like. And also there's a McCree, so there is no DPS actually. There's only 2 tanks. One of them is just rolling. He's
Oh,
not-
you guys, I hope you win this. I hope you guys win this. But it's going to be a real shame if your team 3v1s and beats this Hog, and while your team 3v1s and beats this Hog, you lose a pointless 2v1. And I call this a pointless 2v1 because this Ash wasn't really going to do anything in the next 2 seconds. Maybe eventually they were going to get out here and they were going to fight your Sigma, but you said your Sigma's a coward, and he was going to just put his barrier up and shift and back off, whatever. This Ash wasn't really going to be able to contribute anything meaningful, and therefore neither was this Mercy, and probably neither. Well, okay, we'll say this McCree is doing something. He's fighting your Sigma, but like this Ash wasn't going to be able to do anything. And you've now put yourself in a situation where maybe she can eliminate you, maybe she won't, and then, hey, I still have an issue, but my issue is less. But I would rather consolidate and take out this Hog, or consolidate and take out this Hammond. The way Overwatch works, and you've complained about, hey, people come find you, balls, hogs, things like that. The way it works is you don't want to put yourself in situations where the enemies kind of have a surround on you, even if they can't necessarily get to you directly, you don't generally want to do it. It puts yourself in sort of more danger. You generally want to clear your lanes. Like, you want to go, hey, I'll control mid while my team controls this lane and my team controls this lane. Or my team will control mid and this lane and I'll control this lane. That sort of thing. Like, you want to think about the lanes effectively, and you want to do this in such a way where you've now forced yourself forward while the ball is in deep over here and the Hog is in deep over here, and this was irrelevant. So, like, yes, in theory, your team should be able to handle this hog, but, like, we would have been more comfortable if we pushed this hog back first. We'd have been more likely to get this elimination if we work with our team and push back this hog, because this Ashe isn't doing squat right now. Do you see what I'm saying?
I was just thinking about just holding the response.
Yeah, but you're less interested in holding their spawn when they already have people in. Like, it's generally better to cut off those people that are already in than to be like, well, no one else type thing. Like, as a general rule in Overwatch, it's going to be better to go, I'll deal with the person who's feeding, who's already in without enough support, rather than go look for more people to beat. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Let me get you patched up.
Okay, so we can get into the micro here. I've resisted going too hard into micro. Obviously, this is good. You charge up even a little bit and body shot her. The Mercy's going to be slow and you take her down, but you didn't really charge up there at all before taking another shot. SMGing her down was never going to be an option, especially once the Mercy is flicked to heals here. So, you know, if she was alone SMGing her down after that first hit, totally valid. Not really while the Mercy's in play.
Don't have hours on Widow. I just picked it up like
Okay.
last season, so I don't have this micros. I don't have it. You can
Not
see my mind are everywhere. I don't use mine. I'm just like aim. It's just
sure.
aim simulator for me. So there's no micro in my knowledge.
Okay, not a big deal.
So thank
This
you
is
for-
part of how we build it. Yeah.
Pass into the iris.
Okay. She's annoying. We don't like her. Valk can actually... Excuse me. Sorry about that. Valkyries can actually challenge us pretty well.
I should drop.
You should run from this. You got it.
I should drop. Yeah. Valk Mercy is scared.
Right. Valk Mercy is a legit answer to Widow. Like, oh, what's your answer to Widow this fight? Well, we're going to... Okay. And I just want to see how this hog situation resolved on the other side. And if you could have been a difference maker.
Hog never dies. That's why he's in every game.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He never dies. He never dies. Even if you focus him, he will heal and just hook you, kill you. Even if you scream. There is no solution. Just run away.
Well, you say that, but this hog got somewhat weak here. I was gonna heal up again. Okay. And then that gets missed. That's unfortunate. But, you know, this hog was definitely, like, this hog went down to less than 30 HP here. Like, if you'd thrown a little help over here while this fight was being irrelevant, maybe. But, okay.
My Roadhog have a mercy. He have a pocket mercy. What do you expect?
Okay.
Even if you lose, you will get ignore the tanks and just...
Right. But again, my point is, even when this hog backs off, this hog having to back off because he's losing the fight, even if he doesn't get eliminated, it sort of gets the other team squished. And we sort of want the other team to be squished, where we want to be in this situation. You can't see if I draw, so let's go like this. We want to be in this situation where the enemy team, the blue team, is sort of contained in this area, and our team gets to threaten from this direction and from this direction. And when we start to win the battle with the hog over here, it forces the hog back, and now the hog is sort of firing out like this, and the Ashe is firing out like this. Whereas your team, your hog gets to fire in from here, you potentially later get to fire in from here, your pharmacy gets to fire in from here, and like if they shoot at your pharmacy and miss, it hits no one. If they shoot at your hog and miss, it hits no one. If they shoot at you and miss, it hits no one. If they try to take cover that's effective against your pharmacy, it's not effective against your hog. If they try to take cover that's effective against your hog, it's not effective against the pharmacy. If they try to, you know, like, that's what you, whereas you guys, okay, if they take cover, if you take cover that's effective against one of them, it's pretty much effective against all of them. If your hog takes cover that's effective against one of them, it's effective against all of them, right? Like,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat?
Yeah, no problem whatsoever. So what we're generally trying to do in Overwatch is we'd like to win the team fight, but a step to help us win the team fight is we would like to kind of squish the opponents down into a box, into a small area. So if we look at how this is now, Mercy broke out of effectively their prison because she's in Valk, and the prison didn't fully happen because Ball never got forced out. Zen is over here. But remember, they had a Hog over here and they had a Hammond over here, and we could drive that Hammond back to here, and we did drive the Hog back into here. And what that does, and then their respawns come out of here, what that does is it creates a situation where even if our hog doesn't actually eliminate this other hog while fighting him over here and just drives him back to here, and then your pharmacy, let's say, drives the Hammond back to here, what you end up then situation-wise is, let's pretend your pharmacy's fighting from over here and your hog is fighting from over here, and the entire enemy team is contained in this area. They haven't been able to get a Zen over here, a Ball over here. They've been contained in this area like this. You guys are actually winning that fight pretty hard, whether you have eliminations yet or not. Do you know why?
Because we have many angles and we have more options. They just need to throw themselves on the payload and just get shot from everywhere.
Basically, yeah. I mean, it's they've got a disadvantage in terms of if they shoot at you guys can take cover against them. If they shoot at you guys, spam meant for one person won't hit another person. If you shoot at them, the opposite is true. Their cover that works against one of you doesn't work against others of you. You can close the angles against all of them at the same time. Like, there's some very nice advantages that you can take advantage of to take them down. It's sort of like you've put them in check after you've squished them. And that's really why I was big on, rather than go up here and challenge this, I can more consistently win if I help squish these guys down into the box, and then we're going to win. Like, if I go up here and just outmuscle the Ashe, that's great, and that absolutely helps us win, and that helps us win faster than if we play this angle game of forcing them back and shoot at this hog who never goes to spawn, who never gets eliminated. But even so, even if our hog isn't winning hard enough to eliminate him, winning hard enough to drive him back is actually still creating an advantage that won't 100% of the time lead to our win, but will, like, a good 80% of the time lead to our winning the team fight, if we'd properly been able to contain them. Here we weren't because the Ball didn't get dealt with, and part of why that didn't happen is because you're fighting up here rather than helping win these angles. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Even if I kill the Ashe, she will get resistance.
True. True.
Rendezvous avec la nuit.
I'm on my way.
Heroes never die.
Okay. So, here you are.
I'm on my
You go for that. You decide to go here.
Here.
There was no callouts. There was no one in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
house.
I'm
I
not too worried
didn't
about
know
it. This is reasonable.
what
This
is happening.
Yeah. This is reasonable. Obviously, you could have taken the more conservative position of over here. You're harder to get to. You still contribute to this fight just fine. Or you could have gone over here, but I don't particularly mind you going over here. The truth is, I wouldn't have gone up here, and I wouldn't actually be as interested in this roof in this match as you are. And the reason for that is we have a pharmacy. And remember how I was talking about multiple angles and wanting to control multiple like that? It's very likely, given that your pharmacy can fly, that she's going to hang out a little more vertical, and her sort of preferred place to play from is this place that you're playing from. Like, she wants this because she gets a little bit of aerial cover. It's easy for her to get to. She can do more that with this than she can from, like, over here or over here, right? Sorry, was that a or a question mark?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So given that, and given that we talked about wanting to control multiple angles, this probably isn't where I'd be defaulting to the way you are. I'd probably be much more interested in, can I go over here, or can I go over here? And in this case, I'd go over here, based on us already having lots of team over here. So The one thing that I am going to complain about here is, hey, you're going to this place where the Pharah is, and I don't care that you get eliminated here, but I care you were always more likely to, not necessarily be in more trouble, though in some ways in more trouble because you're not containing them well, but you were more likely to contribute less as a team when you and Pharmacy are stacked on the same angle, and you can tell, wait, I have a Pharmacy, she's going to want this angle. But let's go here.
Even if we're stacked, the team is pushing. We have 2 angles. Is it
Mhm.
enough? 2 angles? 2 angles are enough.
2 angles can be enough. Three is better. Like 3 is sort of the magic number, the sweet spot. Like once you get to more than 3, it's not worse. There's times when you'll use 4 angles. Don't get me wrong, but most of the time your team can't adequately reinforce 4 angles. Like you sort of run into, okay, the magic of 3, the magic of that's about Overwatch tends to be designed map-wise into about 3 lanes. The combinations work well, and okay, we could spend up to 2 people per angle if we wanted to. Maybe we'll spend 3 on an angle. We don't really ever want to spend 4 on an angle. If we get into only 2 lanes, we're probably spending 4 on an angle. Like that's where it sort of gets where 2 can be enough on the same angle, or 2 can be enough angles in some situations. It's certainly better than what the opponents have if the opponents have 1. But there's generally going to be an angle that they can come around the outside if you've taken 2 of 3 lanes that they can use to collapse one of your angles, because it means they're able to get in one relatively cheaply or for free and then potentially come up and push your angle in. You follow?
Yeah.
Okay. So here you are. Yeah, that happens. I mean, we did go over here. We did look over here. I totally get why we looked over here, but obviously looking over here exposes us to this, and this isn't being totally adequately controlled. And, that's okay. Could we have backed up more over here if we were going to deal with this? Yeah, was it really going to make a difference? Not the end of the world. Really, we just were kind of close. We were kind of close to this, and we were sort of in Ferris territory anyway, but not a big deal. And now this should be checkmate. I'd like to see a mine go out. Doesn't matter. The reason I'd like to see a mine go out is, while you should be totally fine here, you know that you're not missing out on anything by not pre-holding an angle scoped right now, right?
Yeah.
Because you know where all the opponents are. So set up a mine to tell where opponents are in the future when your invis sight is over. Okay? Great concept. Probably not. So that was cool that we got the double here. Don't get me wrong. And this helps a little bit. I'm probably not super interested in this, though. And again, this is going to come down to angle differential. You've got this. You got a couple nice picks here, and that's good, but you basically forced that with mechanics. I'm much more interested in taking a more outside lane here and going, hey, can I threaten from over here? Can I threaten like this? Can I threaten like this? Because ultimately the spot I want to get is this spot right here. I'm going to win if I get this spot. This is the power position for the first half of first point here. And putting yourself here, you sort of put yourself in this spot where this whole lane can see you and this whole lane can see you. And these guys aren't terribly distracted. They don't have a ton of other things to deal with yet, do they?
There is a shield in their faces, and
Okay. There's a shield in their faces, sure.
I was looking for staggers at that point. We just capped, and they couldn't touch, so they are coming back. So people are free, just scattered everywhere. So I took the high ground and just pick up who was free.
Okay. I don't feel like this, yes, you guys got the late elimination on ball, but these guys got to preset with defensive positions, right? Like, you guys had to wait for this cart to unlock. Your Anna's going to be back here on cart where she can help you guys that are in that spot, but she can't contribute anything offensively. Your Fair is still moving into position. Your Hog's still basically moving into position here. So, I look at this and go, I don't mind it. This is basically just the flashy, hey, yeah, you're looking for staggers. I'm not really convinced they're in stagger territory yet. And they're not either. I mean, this Bob probably isn't coming out from a team that thinks they're lost and getting wiped and they're using ults to prevent themselves from getting staggered. This is probably we still want to win this fight. Not this fight, but this fight right here for the corner. That's what I view out of a team that's bobbing, that is set up like this. I don't think they've ruled themselves as out of this fight. I think they have a strong enough corner hold here. But this
I,
this
I,
go
I,
ahead.
I don't think enemy Ash was taking in this reason. He's just
Okay.
wasting ultimate. Yeah.
Just wasting
They don't-
ultimate. Okay.
Yeah, just throwing.
So
It just they should be group up waiting for their tanks. They are not ready. They are not ready. So he's just. Do
I
you
mean,
think it's a waste?
I wouldn't ask them to group up right now. I would say they're doing the right thing, which is taking appropriate angle control to be hard to break. Like they would love their tanks to be here, but their options are either they retreat harder, and accept that they're fighting over something back here, or they say, "Hey, we're down one player, maybe we're down two players, and because we're down a player, it's even more important that we set up good concave control. We make something that's hard to break. Like anyone who tries to push into this, like your Sigma, is pushing into this situation where they're getting shot from the front and from above and to the side there. And that sucks. That's hard to push. It's much easier to push someone in like a one-on-one, right? Like it would be much easier to push this hog, as weird as that is, than it would be to push this Anna right now, right?
Yeah, but I will tell you my view. So
Sure.
the payload until it reaches the first turn, it's free. It's a free push.
Mm-hmm.
So if you commit a fight before the payload reach, it's just you're wasting your time. They're using ultimates there. They're taking a fight. They will achieve nothing because the payload will go to the corner anyway.
So,
They
yes,
they can't prevent. They can't prevent it. They can't.
sure. They're
So
not going to
it's just
prevent the payload from going to here. But you know what?
yes
When the payload gets to here, I would be much, much happier if I were blue team if I had my Ashe and Mercy up here
with
versus
the bomb.
having a red team Widow up here. If you have a red team Widow up here, when the cart gets to here, red team is very, very likely to win. If you have a blue team Ashe and Widow up here, when the cart gets to here, blue team is going to win. So you can force this fight to happen even before the cart gets to here, based on the fact that they can't afford to give this up. Do you sort of see what I'm saying there?
He can use Bob and reclaim the position. Or
He can. So you're hitting into something that is sort of how Overwatch works, where you look at this and go, okay, what's more important in Overwatch? Is the most important thing man advantage? So 6v5, 6v4, that sort of thing. So is it man advantage?
it is
Is
map. They need to control the good places and just push.
right? Is it map advantage? Is it map control /
Yeah,
positioning, or is it ult advantage?
position.
Okay.
Ultimate.
So you're calling it positioning / map control. Okay. And sometimes you do break map control or positioning with man advantage or ult advantage or some combination of the two. But if you go down in numbers, your best chance of still being relevant is probably map control, right?
Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
setting up good map control because they're down, and what you're advising is no, they should back up until they have an even number of people, and then they should ult to get back in. And that's a valid strategy, but the strategy that they're using isn't some terrible one. It's not some, like, I would not recommend that they aggressively go run at your Anna to take a fight right now while they're down people, but them going, no, we're going to make you fight into our good defensive positioning to try to cover for the fact that we're down. That's not really a throw on their part, is it?
Since you're insisting on that, the Ash need to preserve its good, its like its positioning. I can see that, but we have Anna and the Bob will get slipped anyway.
Sure.
And the Bob is.
Yeah, I don't actually think it's an amazing ult. Like, that's not really what I'm thinking. I'm not like, oh, this is the best ult in the world. What I'm actually trying to get you to is, I don't mind you going for this as the cheeky, hey, I can brute force it, I can beat them play. But the truth is, what's actually more important right now is you getting this. You should, like, just like here, you tried to force the cheeky play of I'm going to pop up here and I'm going to take out their Ashe. And if you take out their Ashe and Mercy, hey, that's good. You took out their Ashe and Mercy. Obviously, that's a good thing. But we'll call it a bit of a coin flip for whether you take out their Ashe and Mercy here or you get taken out or, whatever. Whereas you can do this, which is much more reliable. You're very unlikely to get eliminated by the Hog. You're very likely to, at the very least, push the Hog back, potentially eliminate him, and then you put yourself in a situation where you're likely to win the fight from there because you get to threaten in from angles. I'm talking about the same thing here. You popped yourself up to try to get the eliminations, and this time you got them, unlike back here with the Ashe, and that is like, okay, fine, you did that, but the same thing as pushing the Hog back here would have been, hey, maybe Hog's threatening this, maybe Sigma's threatening from here, I walk myself across here, and maybe I go in and threaten from over here to just be like, hey, let me take the elimination from here, or maybe I walk up over here, and now I'm threatening, or now I'm threatening to try to get this elimination from here, and this is putting them in a situation where this Ashe is paralyzed, right? Now she's got this situation if there's a Widow threatening from here, the Sigma can threaten her from here, and the Hog is still in play, and if you can force her out, now you're here, your team is threatening from here, and you just sort of win. You see how that works? Like, it doesn't require you to hit your shots the same way. I'm not saying hitting shots isn't important, but this is like you trying to brute force it mechanically. This is you playing slow and steady to win the race. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And now you drop. Good. That was an aggressive walk. So, like, you look at this.
Yeah, I was screaming in voice.
I just don't even bother to shoot at this, because he takes half
I-
damage, and you're going to have to deal with reloads, and you do, like, no damage to him right now, right?
I was screaming in the voice. Hog.
Okay.
I'm the only one.
And it's
shooting.
right. Like, you might be screaming in voice, but I'm looking at you in voice, and I'm going, I mean, okay, I'll try to shoot it. Your Anna's trying, like, your Anna's like, okay, fine, but, like, what do you want us to do? That Hog is full health and taking half damage right now. And
Anti-sleep.
well, she doesn't have the angle for those anymore. But yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, so driving the Hog back is good. We're not going to eliminate him anymore, but driving him back still has some value. So let's not get counter shot.
There's anti. I see.
Okay. And now you're walking. You continue to walk at him, and he almost hits you again. That could have been bad. Okay. Okay. Let's rotate for positioning. We're gonna play it down mid. That's okay. There.
No.
Sure.
Out of existence.
I mean, this is okay, but you see how your entire team's threat is down this same lane? You don't have anyone threatening from here. You don't have, like, Hog threatening from over here. You don't have you or Farah threatening from up here. And threatening from up here lets you do things like deny this Anna, right? Like, they can take cover, and one piece of cover is kind of good against all of you, right? Because you're all down this same lane here. You're going to more reliably be finishing this map if you work yourself up over here. Up over here. Like, your transition was really from here to here to here type thing. Which lets you have a little more over this, a little more over this, but that's okay.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Usually, at the end of the map, I just stare at the payload.
Okay, and that
distance and stare at the payload.
That might make sense. I mean, as Widow, that might make sense to go, hey, I can take this really long sight line down mid, and you would prefer that your Pharah play top left, for example. That might makes sense, and I can live with that. That might be your best standard positioning, but I would probably recommend you adjust to what your team is doing as well. If your team is all playing mid, then no one can really see behind the payload very well. Just as an example, right?
Behind the payload,
In
my
in
team
front
already.
of the payload from your perspective.
Yeah, but my team is already there.
Okay.
No one can hide from my sight.
I am unstoppable.
I'm sorry that I'm sending this game. I think because
This
I
game
didn't
is
see
fine.
Ready.
There are things for you to get out of this game. We have been fine. I mean, we can talk more about map control. We can talk more about setting your
I will
Widow
not
mind
recommend the
placements.
coffee
Like there are things to get out of this map that are things that you can work on. So this is not by any means bad.
The barrier.
Yeah, here I'm testing the timings. For the dynamite. I'm testing stuff here. Ignore it. I'm just testing stuff.
Sure.
now I remember.
Attackers
Yeah, so
I'm
now
testing
we're
it.
some ads.
It's useless.
Stop the payload.
Something useless.
I'd be watching your back. But be careful.
I remember it. Yeah.
Let me. And
Okay, so I don't
I am,
particularly. Go
I
ahead.
am punished now because I was playing
Right.
around. I'm
Good.
punished.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say you're not getting any good pre-positioning here, and this is kind of
Yes.
garbage. Yep.
let's get you back on the
It will cost. It will cost me the.
Yeah, this is rough. You guys are all. So this is what we were talking about before. Of you've mostly let yourself all be squished in this one little box here. You don't have a situation where you're with Anna controlling this, or where you were up here and you dropped your TNT from here type thing. Like we would have liked that. Really, what we would have loved is you and Sigma both up here, while maybe Hog controls this, with your Anna back here. But that's okay. We'll deal. Okay. Unfortunate, just having a little bit of a bad streak with some of our shots here. That Ash should have been eliminated. That Zarya should be in a lot more trouble, but that's okay.
Personne n'échappe
Aim
à
just
mon regard.
enough.
Yep, not a big deal. Oh boy. Okay.
They was looking at me and I was just.
So
Nothing is working, even dynamite.
so
Just,
okay.
I need to go out.
Yeah, it's probably time to leave. I'm done with this angle. Like this cart, this thing, this is putting you too close. We did some work on this angle. We weren't able to get a pick, and let's use Ash and the fact that we can reposition our angle pretty easily. We just step out here, we coach weapon ourselves up to here, and now we have a new angle to play with, right? A new angle to play with. Like it's not a hard transition for us. That's how our hero works. Like the enemies know where we are. They've adjusted to it. Good. Go vertical. This looks like this looks bad, right? We've got all of you guys stacked in one place right here.
Dynamite.
Well, but even if this dynamite hadn't hit, you guys are all stacked in one place. And unfortunately or maybe fortunately, these guys aren't very spread out either. But like, if you were threatening from over here and your Sigma was threatening from up here, this would be a much better situation for your team, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, I missed.
we should try to change this a little bit. Maybe that's going to be okay. Maybe you coach weapon yourself up here. Maybe it won't be because there's a Winston up here. But like we would like to go, so maybe you just walk your way over here, or maybe you walk your way over here and walk up here and drop your TNT from up here. But I don't want to be stacked with my whole team like this because you use a weapon, shoots in one direction, and it's just too easy for one piece of cover. Aha! I am now safe from the entire red team. Right?
Yeah.
That's not true if you're up over there or your Sigma's up over there and you're over there type thing. Like, oh, shoot, now they're under a lot more pressure. And when someone gets weak because Hog's shooting at them or whoever's shooting at them, McCree's shooting at them, and they try to retreat behind cover, you still finish them off. Sigma still finishes them off. That sort of thing. if I want to get us back into this fight that it feels to me like we're losing, my path probably isn't up here, even though this puts me back in the fight faster. My path is probably more over here, where I can get a surprise on someone and potentially get 2 quick pickoffs. You follow what I'm saying? Like, if I go here,
Yeah.
I'm more likely to do the standard contribution. If I go here, I might lose someone and the fight might just be gone while I'm not contributing to the fight. But it's only really an extra second or two, and I've got a way better chance of actually being like, nope, I'm putting us back in this fight that is otherwise pretty lost, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy is just throwing balls.
Sorry, what's that?
No, the enemy Ash is just throwing bombs.
Oh, yeah.
They won the fight.
Okay. That's true. That's true.
It's quiet.
You must like me.
Mana boost is ready.
Okay.
Get in there and I'll get you. My ultimate is fully charged. Get
So I want to see this.
The-
You're here.
The stream
You must like me.
quality is just I can't see anything.
Oh, let me stop streaming and restart streaming there and see if that helps. You might have to click in again. I don't think you have to, though. I think if you
Yeah,
didn't click away,
yeah.
it's still good. Hopefully that was
It's
better.
It's working now.
Okay, good.
Mana boost is ready. Get in there and I'll get you. My ultimate is fully charged. Get in there. Mana boost is ready. Get in there and I'll get you. My ultimate is fully
Just in
charged.
my team.
Get in there. Mana boost is ready. Get in there and I'll get you.
Okay. I bet I know how this fight goes.
I was waiting for the widow. I didn't check that.
Yep.
They switched. They have a Sombra.
Yep. So you have a couple decisions to make here. So first off, I'm going to bring a couple things up because it's my job. So here we are. Okay, what's my first real complaint? My first real complaint is going to be map control, right? Like, you guys are sort of mostly just down this middle lane again, aren't you? You don't really have anyone with control over here. You don't really have anyone with control over here, do you?
Me?
No, you as a team. And you might say, no, well, I don't want these places because I want this nice long sight line. Well, this is a pretty nice and long sight line right here, right? Like, this wouldn't be some terrible sight line for you to play from. And given that your whole team is playing in this direction, that's one thing. The other thing I'm going to talk about is your mind can do a few different things. Your mind can help you ward an angle that a sniper might peek, like Ash. You know, you could be like, hey, I would like a Venom mine here so that if Ash peeks, maybe she gets caught by it and I now have infosights on her and that's great. Or I might like a mine on my team, on myself, so that if I get dove, there's a little extra damage. Or maybe I want a mine just to mark a flank route so that if like someone walks through, they can get mined, or mark a flank route so that if they walk through, they get mined. Great, and now I know that the flanker is coming.
Yeah.
Which of those mines do you have out right now?
I didn't use any mine.
Right. And they have a Sombra, so we might have liked to mine ourselves, or we might have liked to mine a flank route. We could have mined Cave to try to warn us against an Ash peak, or this might have warned us against a Sombra flank, but like, we didn't have any sort of mine out, and mine is one of those things that helps. But the other thing is, again, all of our team's damage threat is down main right now. It's the Hog, it's you, it looks like it's going to be the Sigma, it looks like it's going to be the Kree. We'd like to change that. We probably aren't comfortable standing here because we can't really ward both directions at once. But something like this seems pretty reasonable. We just stand here, we're ready to threaten, and if we get in trouble, if Sombra shows up, we just grapple back, and now we're with our team and we have some safety, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't expect the
Sombra.
Sombra. We were losing to an Ash. They are doing right. Suddenly there is the Sombra on my face.
Yep.
Why? Why?
I get it. I do.
What? Yeah.
I feel unstoppable. I'm going to Let's get you back in the fight.
don't know that I'd be too big on the you're losing yet, though. I mean, you guys did finish the map with 3 minutes left there. Sure. Okay, so here you are. This isn't the most amazing spot to stand in the world because obviously you have no cover options, but I get it. You're trying to make it hard for them to push in. I'm fine with it.
But no one to shoot me. There's nothing. Only sleep dart is the only thing
Yep.
that can
Yep.
bother me. There's nothing.
Right, exactly. So you're good. Now we need
No
to think
one
where
can
we're going to
hide
reposition
from
to.
my
You're not.
sight.
You're going to do Infocite instead.
Yeah, for the Sombra.
Ouch. Ouch. Okay.
Yeah. Do you remember this guy who
I do.
have a mercy pocket and he couldn't kill?
I do. I remember.
Yeah.
Barrier in place. Barrier's about to break.
Okay. So you have a Widow Mine out this time, and that's helpful. But on the flip side, your entire team's power is focused in this direction, one. And B, we can make it harder for Sombra to get at us, right? Like, it's not hard for us to go, oh, I'm playing up here,
Yeah.
where now Sombra really has to use Translocator to get up here. And if she uses Translocator to get up here, A, you can hear her, but B, she doesn't have it to get out, right? So you can make the paths harder for her at this point. It's not a surprise that she's here anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No.
Adaptive
Oh, yeah.
circuits engaged. Roadhog. I'm going whole hog.
It's probably not SMGing that doesn't make sense into the... It's probably SMGing that doesn't make sense in general here. I think this is just sort of you lost in the chaos. If we look at this, SMG can be useful for finishing someone off, but that hog's not in finish off range yet, right?
Yeah.
So this just doesn't make sense. Either we run because we don't like we're taking damage, or we scope and actually try to do meaningful damage to him. Sure? And same thing here. Unless we know that Anna's weak, we're basically just wasting ammo.
I just want to die, but I don't know why I grappled.
Yeah, if you just want to get eliminated, grapple to the cart to stop the cart from moving. But okay.
Yeah. I said, oh, no one's shooting me. Let me go up.
Changing position.
Fair, fair. Ah,
They are
okay.
asking for me. They're asking for me.
Myself
but
a
here-
revolutionary.
Okay.
I'm a fighter.
I mean, that's probably the concept of Reaper does okay even after being hacked by the Sombra and Monkey, but it's fine. Tracer will work. Okay, that's mostly we're just walking into danger. We'll deal. We would have liked to take a different route out, which now you're going to take. Okay. So,
I was thinking about changing things.
got it. So, I'll go here real quick just to point this out. You can do this if you feel like, oh, we've absolutely got to go through and you feel like we should safely be able to get through. But in general, we've been talking about map control this whole time. Maybe you feel like you got to go right now because you won't get the point otherwise. And that might be true, but I'm not sure I'm counting on you to be the one to touch the point. I really do have interest in going, hey, can I go out another way, come out over here, something like this, just to make this more interesting if we ever actually plan to win this fight. But you're probably just like prioritizing touching the point, which I get.
What I remember here is that I thought that my tanks will go to the tank and I will blink into the room in front of me. Do you see that? The high ground?
Oh yeah.
And I will shoot people from the high ground. That's what I was planning, but then I saw my Roadhog is just not touching, and so I just linked into the payload and I got EMP'd.
Okay. Okay.
Heroes never die.
Again.
Switch or not.
Okay, cart got stopped. We'll take it.
You're welcome.
Okay, do we hear it? Sure.
Farewell.
Good.
Yeah, I want to cancel that. Yeah, here I don't know how I died.
Yeah, so this is just you not
I
being
don't know how I
comfortable.
died.
Go ahead.
The damage boosted maybe. I don't know what. I thought I have time. I should have recalled.
Yeah, I mean, this is... Yeah, this... You can't go down here. Not a big deal, but you can't go down here. Obviously, we look at this. He can't actually keep up. You have 3 blinks. That's a lot of damage you take. Like, that is a lot of damage you take. You must be expecting to recall at this point because you haven't used any blinks to decrease this damage. You'd clearly meant to recall here. Yeah, okay. Oh no, then you blink. That's so weird that you then blink here. Because you've already taken too much damage. Like, it's mandatory that you use your recall. Not even at this point, but 20 HP ago. So, like, it's really weird that you then blink. Because you'll want to have blinks for after your recall when you've got full health to play with again. Oh
I
well.
don't look at the I don't look at the HP. I have a sense like.
Yeah, you don't
With
have
the
to be
amount of time.
right. You don't have to be looking at the HP, but yeah, you. But even the blink didn't make sense. You follow what I'm saying? Because like, even if you're not looking at the HP, you know you've been getting zapped, and you just chose to get zapped for more than an instant there. So it doesn't make sense to invest a blink when you're then going to recall, and it doesn't make sense to not recall.
Yeah,
You follow?
You're right.
Okay.
You're right.
It's fine. It's a staggered
Stream
fight.
stream is not clear.
Justice ain't gonna
Three,
dispense.
okay.
The stream is not clear for me. I can't see.
Oh, okay. Let's do this. Give it another moment there.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah, it's good now.
Excellent.
Adaptive circuit.
Ah, I see we're doing the tried and true pastime of running it down mid.
Need healing.
Sorry.
I said I see we're doing the tried and true pastime of running it down mid.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Oh, I just mean you came out of spawn here and you're just going right on down mid. You're not going, oh, I'm interested in taking this side, shooting in from an angle. You're not interested in going here and saying, hey, I'd like to take you guys out from up here. You're saying, I'm just going to walk this down mid. And don't get me wrong, Korea is a little bit slow, so running it down mid perhaps makes a little more sense with him than other people. And fortunately, your Reaper is controlling right side. But usually you would be interested in, hey, I might do my poke battle, but you do want to think about how am I going to work myself out here type thing.
Okay, I have a problem with McCree after the nerf. He's not doing damage from range. So if I go high ground, I will be doing like 40 damage if I go from the high ground.
Put another way,
Nothing.
you're not doing any damage from back here. So walking up this way to get yourself here to where you can get here to where you can get here to threaten in from a different angle makes even more sense because you're not doing any damage. Oh, okay. Yeah, give me just a second. Okay. It just DC'd me for some reason.
I don't know. Only Overwatch DC.
Yeah, that's weird.
They have their own internet.
They have their own internet. Seems that way sometimes. Let's jump back to Kree here.
Road hard. I've never called myself
Okay, so here we were.
adaptive circuits engaged.
Sure.
Reinhardt.
Need healing.
Sure.
Double
Triple.
Great.
And that's how the West was won. Easy.
Beautiful.
Who's got the hot hand?
My anti-nano
Waiting for
is
the
ready
zone.
to deploy.
What's that? Let me turn you
I
up.
was
a little
looking
more.
for. I was looking for the Sombra. I was shooting here.
Got it. Okay. So I know you complained that you won't do any damage from the high ground. I'm still probably going to want you up here because
Yeah.
you will from here do enough damage to this area, and this area is just so powerful. But I'm okay with you looking up over here for cleanup stuff, but I'm probably going to want you to reset back into the appropriate position because I'd rather have you have this position for the upcoming fight than get a little early poke and have to rotate into the position with McCree, who is slow. Yeah. If you were a soldier, might be a little different.
I feel like
Okay, good.
I don't remember the game.
Oh, but then we drop because we feel like
I
it.
will go
Let's
either.
go here. Okay.
I got destroyed.
You do get destroyed, but that's because like you're high ground, but you're sort of in front of your whole team here on this high ground, right? Like, wait a second. Okay, yeah, I have no idea why your team backed up that hard. Like, don't
My
get me
team
wrong.
was pushing, yeah. My
Yeah.
team was pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember why I dropped.
Okay. I still would have said, hey, you could see enough right here, even if you face a little bit of fall off damage when dealing with things like Anna, so be it. But I would have said this is still the better place to be.
I think I will deal 20 damage if I stay in that place.
You are not going to deal 20 damage from here to the Roadhog, from here to the
No,
Echo.
not the road dog, because my team were pushing until the door.
Well, okay, if they actually push them back to the door, yes. Like if you're dealing with things that are beyond the Enna, sure, you're gonna have some fall off. I agree. But that's not what had happened yet. And like you haven't actually pushed them back that far yet. And you're not necessarily going to if you go into the front line unless you get a good flash play out of it. And you tried to flash play, but again, you hit a little bit of your team shouldn't necessarily be doing that because your NSA can't support that sort of play, but whatever, we'll deal. Okay.
Damage amplified.
Unfortunate.
that's how the rest was worked.
It's fine. Your team's wiped at that point.
This is not your time.
It was late.
I've seen the like.
Anyway, so they tried to push, then they backed very, I don't know, and we died, and after that we lost a point.
Yep, basically. They tried to go aggressive. You went aggressive, went with them on. Well, now I'm here.
What should I do? I was expecting that they want to push, and they wanted to like do something. If they pushed hard and they will be behind, there will be no follow up, and we will lose. So if I push up, they back up, and I will be in bad position. And
Well, I mean, it goes back to here. Like, it literally goes back to this, where we can go over this, and I know you think you need to push up here. You've made that clear, but, like,
so
I really don't think you need to push up
we
here.
shattered.
Like,
We shattered. Right?
we what? We shattered.
My Reinhardt shattered. Yeah.
Yeah, your Reinhardt shattered. That's true.
Yeah.
And I look at this, and I still look at this and go, hey, I'm still pretty good back here. Like, I get it why you want to push in during the shatter. I do. Then you roll here, sure. But the problem that you run into is you can potentially push up, I suppose, if you want. Sorry, what's that?
Yeah, I should back up here. Yeah.
Yeah, like, your Anna's still back here. Like, we may have shattered, but we didn't get enough during our shatter. Your hog is rotating back up here. And you can shout your hog is wrong. You can shout your Anna is wrong. You can shout that your hog and Anna are right and your Reinhardt is wrong for pushing up, for going around this corner for the shatter. I don't really care. My response here is I look at this and go, well, we talked earlier when this fight was happening over this particular spot on the map about how the enemy team was down their Hammond and their hog was wandering. Very familiar situation, but this would still be hard to push into if you guys had good map control. If they had good map control, if they had their Mercy Ash up here, etc. Well, this is still going to be hard to push into if you guys have an Anna back there, a Kree back there, a Reaper playing around this corner, and a Hog that can, hook people from over here or do whatever he wants. Like, this is still going to be hard to push into. If there was a bunch of stuff to get off the shatter, so be it, but let's go back and look at the shatter. Didn't hit anything. I mean, like, yes, we see something back there, but something back there that now you can't even hit. Like, you're rotating during the shatter. You're not taking shots during the shatter. This doesn't really work. Whereas if you actually stay here, you've actually got more ability. They might be 20 damage shots, but you've actually got more ability to hit that Ana right now than you do up here. You've got more ability to go, hey, I'm going to put pressure on that Echo right now and make him leave than you do right now. Were you always going to lose your Reinhardt? Yes, you were always going to lose your Reinhardt. But look at this. We're going to be in a situation where, hey, our Reaper's able to back out successfully. We're able to cover the back out, and it's still hard for them to push this corner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I should back up here.
Yeah.
I shouldn't use the flash or just shoot the Ana and the behind instead of flashing the Roadhog. I don't know why I'm shooting the Roadhog. I should shoot the Ana and the behind.
That would be preferable, yes. And this is just going to snowball a little bit. Where you're out here, you're trying to do work. We obviously don't have the High Noon to hit here. But see what they're doing? And this is what I'm going over. You're high nooning, so they can't push. So they are using this time that they can't push to get themselves a Roadhog, an Echo, and a Sombra over here, while their Diva is over here, and their Ana's over here. So now you guys are in a situation where you're squished down one angle again. You see this? Where it's like you guys are all sort of in this box in the center, and they're like, no, we're going to push mid. They have two angles. They're going to have mid, and they're going to have this high ground angle to the right here. We don't like that. Whereas,
if I go to Mega, I will die also because there's a Roadhog.
Oh, absolutely. If you go to Mega right now, you're gonna get eliminated. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. This happens to me a lot. Like I go to the to the good position, to the high ground, and I find a Roadhog.
Sure.
Happen map after map.
Sure.
It's just going up and get hooked.
Okay, so that's the thing that happens. So you have to respect, obviously, Roadhog's ability to hook you, but that doesn't mean that you can't walk up here and go, oh, there's a Roadhog. Oh, I'm maybe gonna leave when I see that there's a Roadhog. Or, oh, he tries to hook me and I immediately combat roll out. Like I was playing near the cover as I was trying to take it. I run into a Roadhog, sure, whatever, I combat roll out. But now I'm threatening from over here. Or maybe I got the here before he did and now he's trying to battle his way in. And I go, okay, hey, I don't like it, and I leave type thing. And that's fine, but at least he had to deal with you. He had to threaten you. He had to make you leave. Rather than, oh, it's just his for free. Like, let's remove Roadhog and Kree, because Roadhog and Kree is a tough matchup, but let's pretend that we're instead dealing with you're both Tracers, because, you played a little Tracer a second ago, and we used Tracer as an example earlier. If the enemy Tracer has control of this lane, they can come in here behind you and get your team. If you have control of this lane, you can go in behind them, hit the flank, and get their team. So if either one of you controls this lane, that's good for you, and by extension, bad for the other Tracer. So even if you can't win, you simply being here and being like, hey, I would like to take this lane, but the other Tracer's not letting me, or the other Tracer would like to take this lane, but you're not letting them, or you're slowing them down, even if they eventually outmuscle you and force you back with better aim, with more blanks, with a little Harmony Orb support, anything like that, the time that you're fighting them is, hey, time for your team to potentially put something together and not lose. Like if you can beat them, even better, but if you can't beat them, at least that's time that the Tracer isn't already in, taking them apart from the side, because that's more dangerous than them fighting you. You sort of see what I'm saying here? Like I would much rather fight a Tracer I'm aware of on the side than have my Tracer get the jump on my Ana in the back or in the side when she's not paying attention. And this Hog is really the same thing. This Hog, if he's allowed to just walk up here, he's just going to scoop whoever he wants up out of your backline, and we don't like that. And if we're here, we make him think about it a little more. We make him go, oh, no, you're going to have to battle me for it. Okay, fine, you beat me, you forced me back here eventually, and you win. But that's eventually, and if I can force you back, now I can do this, and I can shoot your team in the side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And also, this is, you know that the truck is the right spot, but okay, this truck is going to be even more the right spot. Again, I know you can't do it. There's the Sombra. But this truck is going to be even more the right spot for this High Noon you know, it's going to be much harder for a flyer like Echo to get away if you can do that from up here. But that's okay.
It's time.
Go the solo for the echo. She got away.
Yep.
Solo.
That's how the West was won.
And then we saw this. There's not much to talk about there. You got res, but the payload's basically there. Yeah.
Ready for battle. Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I hope I don't throw this, this
Okay.
again.
Okay.
I threw one. Let's defend. No, the throw.
I mean, this is very doable.
Yeah, I'm throwing. Yeah.
A little bit.
I'm trying spots. I'm trying spots. Yeah. Then
Yep.
I remember I don't have time for the grapple. Yeah. I remember now. Just throw.
One.
I'm throwing games and sending him to the bot. Okay. That's why I did it.
The payload.
It's all good. But yeah, now you're going to be rotating and not
Yeah.
really useful for
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Yeah, the Reinhardt. Yeah, did you see the Reinhardt?
I do. You are in your front line. Okay. You are in your front line. You're still pretty in your front line.
30 seconds.
Why?
Good. Better. Now you're just a little cold.
Yeah, here. Shooting air. I remember.
Yep.
10 seconds remaining.
MEXE is not working.
Yep. I can see it.
Error.
It happened.
404. Error 40. Yeah, error 404.
Reboot. Reboot the.
Yeah, I got carried.
Oh, there we go. There we go. You got the echo. Makes it all worth.
Yeah, I remember why the echo.
My
Just,
sight.
what?
Okay. So
I
obviously
wasn't- okay.
you did get a little carried there. You had, you know, you tried to go for a trick shot to open, you really hit the wrong timing on your trick shot, whatever, and then you were like stuck playing in your front line. Obviously that's no map control, but it's also in your front line where you don't really want to be. You're going to take spam damage and you're a less than 200 HP hero. You can't really afford to take spam damage. Eventually you find your way up here, which is better. It would take us forever to get a mine out. This probably wasn't the mine that we wanted. This might be an okay mine if it was a little further to the left, if you were worried about like fighting some other poke DPS that would use it. But the poke DPS that you were playing against was Echo, and she pokes from weird spots. She doesn't poke from, like, this would make sense against an Ashe or a Hanzo, right? This mine if we scooted it a little.
Usually I expect a hog here.
Okay.
I expect a hog here. Yeah.
Got it. So generally, I'd probably want a mine that would be like more here, right? This is potentially going to warn you if someone is coming through to snipe you, or this is a pretty common flanker route for someone to walk through and it could catch the Sombra, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd be more what we'd expect, but that's fine. Your aim's allowed to fail for a little bit.
Yeah. Usually, if it doesn't work, I stand still and shoot. It's just my best thing to do.
Hey, that's the thing to do. If
just
that's
stand
what
still like a bot.
right, if that's
like,
what it takes
that-
to get a shot or two to hit, and then once your shot or two is hit again, you go back to playing the game a little more normal. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Four, three, two, one.
Yeah.
Attackers
I didn't expect I to find someone. I was surprised.
Yeah, there was potentially a
I
shot
was
to be
surprised.
had.
I was surprised there is someone.
Sure. Okay.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Okay. Sure. Angle right. Good. Good. And I like this angle right better than what you did the first time on your attack here, but now we've got it. Okay. Cool. So we got it, and that's good, and we like getting we
Ready
like
for
putting it
battle.
together there. Now, as we look through this, there's obviously a couple things that we can go over, and I don't think it's going to be too
Yeah.
big a surprise that the most important thing I'm going to be covering is I do want you to think more about your team's angles in general. Like you're thinking about, hey, what's a good long sight line for me as Widow, or what's a good standard Widow spot? You've sort of been like, this is my spot, this is where I go. And I want you to evolve past that, and I want you to evolve into a situation where you go, okay, if I'm coming back or if my team's set up, it's more important that my team controls 2 or 3 lanes than that I am in my most perfect Widow spot or the spot that I've practiced every time. So I want you to think about, do I need to get control of this if our team is just all walking down mid? Do I need to get control or battle for control of this if my team is predictably just going to go like this like lemmings? Oh, do I need to go, this is maybe my normal spot, and maybe that's fine, but we haven't actually won the other lanes, and I'd like to help with those first. Like, let's actually get control of those lanes. I can help because this lane isn't relevant yet. And same thing here, where it's like, okay, we're all shooting down this lane. We're all huddled together. I don't want you to be huddled together. If you're huddled together, I want it to be the result of you started over here, you started over here, you started up here, and someone chased you out. You started to lose a fight, so you went back to your team for safety. That should be like step 2, but you are actually stronger when you're spread out like this. You with me so far? Um, Zan, you with me so far?
Do you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, okay, I can
Hello?
hear you now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, so I want you to look at what your teammates are doing positioning wise a bit more and adjust a little bit more with that in mind. That's going to be on my list. Adjust to control extra lanes with that in mind. You can do that before fights. You're sometimes going to do that mid fight. Like, back here it was a mid fight situation. You guys were sort of retreating from a fight, you're mid fight, but it's absolutely warranted to just leave and go out here rather than to stay huddled. We want to be taking these multiple lanes that'll really help you. It's really actually important as Widow because you're really going to struggle to hit some of these shots to get some of these pickoffs if the opponents are all cleanly shooting in your direction, but also if the opponents can just use a piece of cover and have cover against you and your team, it's really hard for you to do work. Widow gets most of her work done in high levels of play, especially where she gets any level of respect from opponents by being on spots that they didn't expect, or being on spots where maybe they expect her on the lane, like maybe she is playing here, but they're also having to deal with a hog threatening from over here and, a tracer controlling this type thing. So, like, where they just don't have a choice but effectively to challenge her sightline. So, to make that happen, you can't control your team. You might be like, hey, my team are bots, whatever, but I can see where the bots are set up and let me set up around my bots. My bots are controlling mid, great, I'll go control right. My bots are controlling left, okay, I can control mid, that sort of thing. So I really want more adapting to what they're doing because they're just not going to adapt to what you're doing, and that's life. And you can go, okay, they're bots, but I can sort of, even if they're not, like going to get exactly what I want done, I can go, hey, they're going to have some level of competence, not like full competency maybe, but some level of they're going to fight over that spot there. So let me just assume that while they're fighting over mid with other people who are foolishly fighting over mid, let me go take this here. So that's like the most important thing I want. As a sub bullet to that, we could be like, hey, help them win lanes when it makes sense. Don't go bite off new people to challenge. You did this a couple times where, this was one example. We gave another one where you went and found a new person to challenge when it makes more sense to instead win the lane because we're trying to force them into this check position that we've talked about here.
Yeah.
So don't go looking to bite off more. Don't go looking to bite off more when you have, something that you can do. Like if you're in a situation where, let's say, a Hammond has dove your backline, let's deal with the Hammond to make him leave rather than go, oh, we've got 3 people fighting the Hammond, we've got 2 people fighting the Hammond, let me leave to go challenge this over here. Like, okay, well, that person over there wasn't doing anything, they weren't contributing, and now maybe the Hammond gets away. We don't want to do that. So, but that's like a 1B. I'm not going to consider its own thing. I'm going to think of that sort of as a subcategory of this, like try to take different lanes than your friends because you're trying to play for this map control here. Okay, the second thing I'm going to get into is going to be your grapples. You're sort of recognizing how you need to set up for the next fight. Obviously, this happened, and this was you just messing around trying to find something, and I get it. But this wasn't the only time that this sort of thing happens. You had situations where you would recognize a fight was over, you would set up late, and then you either wouldn't go to a good spot because you set up late, or you'd grapple into a spot and then not have your grapple when a Sombra showed up on you because you were setting up too late before the fight started. When you had more time and you just hadn't recognized the one fight, you hadn't started to recognize where the next fight was going to happen yet. Do you understand what I'm referring to there?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want more of an investment and wait, no, we've won this fight. Where's the next fight happening? Oh, the next fight is going to happen bridge, or oh, we can stop the next fight from happening at bridge by denying it. Great, let's set up for that and let's set up early. That's going to be the next most helpful thing. And then the third thing is you need to be more consistent about getting your mine out. You can think about your mine a little harder. I don't think I need to give you any amazing tips about, oh, use your mine exactly like this. We talked through, hey, you can ward flank routes. You can put them in places where others poke DPS are likely to challenge from. You can put them at your feet when there's things like balls and Sombra on the board just to help protect you against the dives a little bit, get a little extra damage in there. All of those things work and are going to be fine, but we do want to make sure we're thinking about what we're up against and we're getting it out there when we have downtime. But that I would consider the least important. And I would really consider the most important to be this lane thing. Work on controlling these lanes. Work on going, oh, my teammate has this mid down. Let me go control left. Let me go control right. Let me go control the power position that is truck. And even if I get beat out of that, even if a McCree, a Hog, or whatever fights me and beats me out of that or makes me leave, I don't want to just die and lose to them. But I'd rather, them having to force me out is better than them just getting it for free. At least it slows it down, and at least even if I lose to this Kree, at least my team isn't getting pummeled by this McCree the whole time, and they have a chance to maybe win the fight before he's able to win it, if you're doing that. So that's how I want you to work on these, and I don't want you to try to do everything at once. I want you to focus on one thing at a time, so especially this lane thing that's going, my team has this, let me control another one, with about 5 to 15% of your brain power. Like, work on that, work on it for 10 games, work on it for 20 games, whatever it sort of takes to blend that into the autopilot, where you just sort of start automatically taking different path control than your teammates have. And then you'd go work on the next one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Then,
yeah.
by all means,
Tell me.
go ahead.
No. I have something else. Yeah.
Please,
Continue.
go ahead. Well, I was going to ask if you had any questions or the like, so this would be... Go ahead.
My questions. So, I have been playing the game since the start, and my hero pool is like almost the whole roster.
Okay.
So every game is a new hero. Every game I use, should I stick to heroes? So I should reduce my pool and focus on certain heroes. So I am playing Ash, Tracer, Echo, and sometimes the Widowmaker if the map allows. Yeah. So but usually I play McCree, but after the nerfs, I just right click. It's just it's useless. I just right click shields. You saw me. I'm just right clicking shields.
Okay.
So yeah, is 4 heroes too much? Should I reduce to like Tracer Echo only? Or
4 heroes is fine. Generally, what you're trying to do is ultimately you're going to play the heroes that you want and that are fun for you, reducing to a number of heroes that you can sort of control, you can sort of work on, because you don't want to work on 12 different things at once, and you wouldn't want to work on 3 different things on 4 different heroes at once either. But you can have 4 heroes in your pool. You can be going, hey, I'm working on a broad concept, like controlling lanes, which you can mostly do on any of those DPS heroes, no problem. But even if you were working on something more specific, like going, hey, I'm really working on my Widow Mines, that's okay as long as you're focusing on that when you're working on Widow and you're getting to play enough Widow to do so. Like, yes, it would be faster if you were only playing Widow, but you'd also lose some SR for that because it's hard to force Widow in certain situations, and you might not want that, and that would cause you to play against lower level opponents, which would be less good Widow practice. So, like, it's okay to be like, hey, I've got a hero pool of 3 heroes, 4 heroes, no problem.
I am not worried about enemy widows. I'm worried about my own team. I don't want to play with low rank.
Okay.
Low rank.
Okay. I mean, the
don't
pool
want-
of people that are on your team is the same as the pool of people that are
No,
on the
no.
enemy team, but okay.
I'm afraid of my own team. I don't afraid of.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's my worry. When I see my rank is lower, I said, "Oh, my own team." My own yeah. So uh yeah. So I have took the four session bundle. So
Yep.
we are doing this
So we
every
will. Sure, we can
yeah.
schedule this at the same time every week. We can schedule this whenever you want. I can generally schedule sessions within just a day or two of when you reach out to
Yeah.
me.
So
So
I will.
go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah. I maybe we can schedule for Sunday. I'm not sure about.
Sure.
But it's not
What's
confirmed. I need to confirm with you tomorrow. The
okay?
same timing because
Same time.
it's
Sure.
already now. It's now 11 p.m. here.
Yep.
It's
Sounds
almost
good.
midnight. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
Okay. Thank you, Temporal, for your advice. I'm sorry I sent you this. I didn't check it. I just saw it with you. It
it's
was.
okay. You
Hello.
had there was
Do you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you
Hello.
hear me? Oh, we tried.
Yeah.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's
I'm glad I didn't have a yeah, I didn't have a lever in this game because I had some couple of levers.
that's okay. You
Yeah,
still got value out of this game. There are
yeah,
things for you to work on coming out of this game, and that's all we really need out of a game. So
yeah,
still works out.
yeah. We're lucky. Yeah.
Okay. Then